Nowadays, the average Minecraft YouTuber's world looks like this. Meanwhile, so many people's worlds are still looking like something out of a 2013 Minecraft Let's Play. So today, I'm going to show you 3 simple tricks that took my builds from looking like this to this. These tricks took me 5 years to learn, but I'm going to show you in only a few minutes. And the final bonus trick can take your builds from a ghost town to a vibrant city. First step is color palette. Now in order to color palette properly, I like to split my builds up into 3 parts: bottom, the middle, and the top part. I use this process on all my builds from castles to skyscrapers, but I'm using this house as an example. Theme in the middle part can really be whatever you want, but if you want to make it cohesive with the rest of your world, you should probably stick to a central theme. Also, do things like using strip spruce logs instead of planks. And so using this knowledge, I can quickly whip up a little midsection here. You can really do as many floors as you want, but I'm just going to do one for the simplest way you could do it. I'm going to make it 4 blocks high so I can have the 2 high windows. Just so they look a lot more like actual windows. Now these spruce supports add a fake sense of depth, which I may or may not be talking about as one of the next steps. They also add a bit of color variation because you don't want your entire build to be just one color. That just doesn't make any sense. Another way you can add color variations by using stained glass. As you can see, I did blue because that's the kind of thing you see in pictures and stuff. You can also do what I did here using the copper grays to add a bit of a duller tone, but any kind of color variation in the windows usually helps, not just using the regular old clear glass. And especially don't use nothing there. So I whipped up a quick little base here, but as you can see, you can really use 3 different kind of bases. You can use a lighter gray, a kind of medium zone, and then a darker one. I decided to go with the lighter gray because that's what I usually use and just the one that I'm more used to using. But you can really go with any 3 of these, doesn't really matter too much, as long as it's a fairly dull color, because the base should not be that bright. Now on to texturing, and just so you know, the rules applied here apply to all the sections, but just for time constraint reasons, I'm just going to do the bottom section. So you take your base here, and you're just going to apply it to all of these things. Oh, whoopsie. I meant like this, and you're just going to apply it to all these, like same kind of color. You can have a few little outliers like this. So you have the coal here, a little bit darker patches, but I have it encased in the stone just to add a little bit of more spice to the build. And if you want it to be a little more simplistic, for stone at least, you can go with something more like that. Unfortunately, this is where people make the 2 main mistakes. First thing that people do wrong is just randomly adding the blocks just around the build. Don't do this. Instead, add them in patches like so, and it should end up something like this. Now the bigger you build your build, the bigger you want these patches, but this looks good for this scale. The second mistake I see people making is looking at this and be like, oh my gosh, this looks terrible. Don't worry, it'll grow on you. Now the third step before the bonus one is depth. As you can see, this build does have a little bit of depth, that nice trim there, but it's not enough, and you can add this little thing here. But we want our builds to be odd numbers, and it wouldn't make it an odd number, unfortunately. But luckily, we do have some other things we can add, like leaves and stuff like that, so I'm going to add that now. Luckily, adding this depth is super easy. You can just add a little bit of plants here, like so, with some lighter plants on the end, maybe another one there, and that looks really good. You can also add a bit of glow lichen in there to add some light to it, and a little bit more lichen there. And you could also add on the window on this part here, a little bit of that. Maybe we could add a little bit of this, that there, the other side too. Now to get some particles in here, we can also add one of those, which looks pretty cool. Can we add them to this? No, that kind of sucks, but we can still add all this stuff and it makes it look really cool. Now for one last tiny detail, add one of those, maybe one of those there. And yeah, that looks really good so far, but we can still do more. We don't just want to add some depth to the top part, we're also going to want to the bottom section, so I'm going to add a quick little kind of garden in here. Now that making sure to add the big flowers in the back, you can start to fill out the garden. Alright, that looks lovely, but we're not done yet. Next, we can add a wood pile like that, and we're going to also want to add a doorway. This looks really good, but this final bonus trick will really level this thing up. But unfortunately, before I show you the final bonus trick, you do gotta listen to me say subscribe, because only 3.3 of the people who actually watch my videos are subscribed. Now, I know this is what I normally do with my hardcore world and stuff. Don't worry, I'm going to get back to that. This is just a filler video, but still, subscribe. Now that final thing is movement. As you can see, I have this horse here as well as these bees, And these 2 villager blocks, not sure where the villagers went, but they should stay within range of these blocks.